Mistakes were made. They were monitoring this guy for an hour beforehand.
Yeah.
No one told you not to take the stage?
No, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said there was a problem. And I would have waited. I think that was a mistake. How did somebody get on that roof? And why wasn't he reported? Because people saw that he was on the roof. So you would have thought somebody would have done something about it.
This morning, still more questions than answers over the massive security fail leading to Donald Trump's attempted assassination.
And the Secret Service Director, Kimberly, will be in the hot seat tomorrow to answer some of them as she faces a hearing before the House Oversight Committee.
Our next guest sits on that committee, so what does she want to hear? GOP Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna joins us now. Congresswoman, thanks for being with us this morning. A lot of anticipation in advance of this interview. What would be your primary goal coming out of this interview? What would you like to hear from the Secret Service Director?
First of all, I want to know who ultimately made the decision to prevent Trump from actually being protected that day. You know, we do see that Mayorkas is stonewalling our subpoenas to be able to understand what happened with communication between Secret Service. But I also, too, have some questions about who exactly this kid was working with. So we do know that he was a gamer. He was operating on a website called Discord, which is a chat room, and that it's very likely with the equipment that he came up with, the explosives and the detonator, that he was obviously working with someone. And so I think from a forensics and digital perspective, that's going to be incredibly important because, as you know, Keith, we have an incredible issue right now with Secret Service. And more importantly, I want to know why she's not resigning. I think tomorrow you'll see probably it's likely that she'll step down.
Congresswoman, is there going to be a classified and declassified version of this or as the investigation is ongoing? Or how much will she be able to say publicly?
You know, the one frustrating thing that we've continued to hear from Secret Service and really from bureaucrats is that this is an ongoing investigation, which is why I've really pushed along with a number of my colleagues to do a separate committee to investigate this. And so I do believe that the American people deserve answers right away. I don't think that there should be a classified version of this. Everyone needs to know what happened here.
I agree.
This is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it's super revealing that Alejandro Mayorkas is stonewalling on subpoenas when he knows that the entire nation wants answers to this. I mean, it's just that guy. It's unbelievable. I want to know more about this kid as well. I mean, will that be part of the investigation? We know he had overseas encrypted accounts. What 20-year-old has that? And also, are you going to get into, was he, apparently he Googled depression. Was he on psychotropic drugs? I mean, all of these things are important for us to know as a nation.
I mean, I think that whatever committee is stood up, and I would hope that the chairman have subpoena authorities start to send those subpoenas to these server platforms like Discord and as well as other gaming services that he was using to see exactly who he was chatting with, tracing their IP addresses. I agree with all of the above, but the fact is that, look, we didn't even get our briefing from Secret Service until days after the fact. That should have happened immediately. And I think that this goes to show that right now as Congress, we are not a respected co-equal branch of government. And so this administration is pushing back. But I also want to remind the American people that Biden ultimately made the decision to not give RFK Secret Service after he had already been threatened. And so I think that leadership, in addition to it being the Secret Service directors and secretaries' responsibility, it's also Biden's responsibility to ensure that people that are running for office have fair protections. And I don't think that he did that.
Do you trust the FBI to handle this investigation?
No, not at all. And I've made that publicly known on a number of occasions. I think the FBI has, again, like J.D. Vance said, great people on the ground, but I don't trust their leadership. And I think it's become very evident over the last couple of years that there is a weaponized double standard within the justice system. But also, too, look, regardless of whatever your political leanings are, what happened with President Trump should have never gone down. And the fact is that if that would have been President Biden, if that would have been Kamala Harris, if that would have been members of Congress, we would have never been allowed on stage. So why did that happen? And I think the American people deserve answers to this. And I think that the FBI really needs to take a look at what its true mission is.
We make a good point about the detonator and the explosives. There's got to be a lot of evidence to be gathered from that, which hadn't had a lot of discussion. Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman, we hope you find a lot of those answers tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you.